Hello and welcome. Happy Tuesday, everyone tuning in. Thanks for being here. Wishing you guys a very relaxed Tuesday evening. And we're back to our regular schedule with Evening CryptoCast. I know last episode we came to you early in the morning, but we're now back to our regular schedule. Coming to you on a Tuesday evening. This is November the 5th, West Coast. United States. And I am going to switch things a little bit. I decided to have myself a nice glass of red wine that you can, I think it's a red blend by Ménage à Trois. You can find that at any Trader Joe's locations. If you don't have a Trader Joe's, then you might be able to find it at a Safeway. If you don't have a Safeway nearby, then I don't know what to do for you. You might have other problems. Not a plug or anything. We don't get paid for any of this. This is all voluntary work. Anyway, let's actually talk about a couple things that have been going on in the crypto sphere. Hope you are enjoying the romantic, tuned down, relaxing music for this particular episode. You might have to turn it up a little bit to hear the background music. In any case, hope that you enjoy this edition of Evening Crypto. Again, this is your host, The Real Shot 256. Let me know what you guys think of the music selection down below. I do have a couple of housekeeping items I wanted to bring to you guys first. As usual, letting you guys know to please leave your comments down below in the comments section of this video. Within the YouTube platform, I know, again, you probably heard me say this before. I see that, a lot of good and bad comments, right? I mean, you guys are very expressive when it comes to giving your opinions. I just ask that you leave them down here in the YouTube platform so that we can keep the conversation going and it's just easier to follow, right? So please do me that favor. The second housekeeping item I wanted to talk to you guys about is, lately I've been noticing that this video gets around to many different crypto related groups on Facebook, and I've been noticing a pretty heavy delay. I will post a video, say tonight, and then it won't get approved or posted by moderators till a day or two. So I apologize for the delay there. And so it brings up a good point, though. If you are catching these videos off of Facebook, it would do me a huge favor and huge honor if you guys hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you get notified when I put out this content, right? And instead of having to wait for Facebook moderators. They're busy. I'm sure they're running their own lives, and it's just unfortunate that a lot of times this content gets to you guys on a delayed fashion, not through something I am purposefully doing. Anyway, let's get right into it. We'll talk about what Stellar Lumens everybody's talking about, or at least a lot of people are catching the news that Stellar Lumens Foundation actually burned about half of their total supply here. We can look at it here, number 10, right, and going up about 23%. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the nitty-gritty of that piece of news. But first, let's do a quick recap of the market, and then we'll get into Bitcoin charting, give you guys a quick update. And if you don't like this first boring piece of the video where we talk about the news, mainly Stellar Lumens, you guys can definitely fast forward through the video. So we're sitting at $251 billion for market cap total, up from a couple of days ago, and also trading volumes up to about 90%, or not 90%, but 90,000. 90 billion, 24-hour volume, and our BTC dominance chart is almost at 67% here. All right, so let's actually get into the news. I found this great article at coin360.com, and it goes a little something like this: Stellar burns 55 billion XLM worth 4 billion, price surges 23%. As announced on November 4th, the Stellar Development Foundation, SDF, realized that the total Stellar Lumen supply was too large for its reshaped development strategy and burned over half of it. I mean, that is a huge, steep process or steep decision, right? I mean, you burn half I mean, I would get like, oh, we're a little over what we should be. We're going to burn about 10%, 5%, maybe 15, 20%. But to burn 50% or 55%, 55 billion, billion tokens, that's quite drastic in my opinion, right? I don't know what you guys think, but that, I mean, half of it. It's like, imagine Bitcoin just that. Not that this would happen because it is a completely decentralized project, and this is I'll get into a little bit more of that here in a little bit. But it is a decentralized, truly decentralized project. Bitcoin doesn't have this sort of managing foundation, if you will. There's a group of core developers. However, it's not a foundation. It's they don't solely decide what happens with the code on Bitcoin, right? So a little bit different setup here. So they're claiming it's too large for the reshaped development strategy that they have in mind. The XLM token burn is a part of the new phase of Stellar growth. That's a good way to rebrand Stellar Lumens, right? New phase of Stellar growth, right? It's not going so well, as with a lot of cryptocurrencies, again, that losing a lot of their value. As the team claimed, 55 billion Stellar Lumens were burnt, 5 billion out of 17 billion in the SDF's operating fund, 37 billion out of the 43 billion reserved for giveaway programs administered by SDF, another 13 billion out of the 25 billion for partnership programs. Well, they're a bit short on partnerships, so this absolutely makes sense, right? Together with 20 billion XLM circulation, the current total Stellar Lumens supply accounts for 50 billion XLM. As explained in the announcement, giveaways and airdrops have been the least effective programs for Stellar. That, again, this makes sense. So it was decided to leave only 6 billion XLM from the original pool. The foundation plans to use 2 billion on marketing support and 4 billion more on airdrops through Stellar-based apps and services. 12 billion XLM left in SDF's operating fund were escrowed, and 3 billion XLM will be unlocked per year for the next 4 years. These funds will be spent on direct development and advocacy for Stellar. They are planning to expand the team from 60 members now to roughly about 120 by the end of 2020. The 12 billion XLM that were previously allocated to partnerships programs will now be spent on grants, developers, support, creating new products, and building the Stellar Enterprise Fund for investing in Stellar ecosystem business. We believe the number of lumens we hold now aligns better with our mission, claim the developers. According to the official blog post, SDF is not planning to burn any additional lumens. The XLM price responded to the announcement and surges 23% from 0.07 to 0.86 soon after there was a slight correction. At press time, XLM is trading currently at 0.082, which is still 17% higher. All right, so what do you guys think about this? I mean, this is sort of the thing, right? This sounds very much like a traditional business model, right? You have stock, you have company stock, and then you figure out a way to manage the stock to maybe do a bit of a fundraiser, and then reallocate funds for the different projects you have going on for your company. Again, it's all cool and dandy if you were a traditional company with even though you don't have a CEO, you have a Stellar Development Foundation, which I'm sure it's a .org or a nonprofit of some sort. But then you have that traditional structure where you have a plan, you have a business model, a business plan on how you are going to allocate your XLM and funds, which again is missing or is uncharacteristic of a truly decentralized cryptocurrency project such as Bitcoin, and a couple others, right? Perhaps Litecoin can be thrown in there, but at the same time it can't, because there's an actual Litecoin foundation ran by Charlie himself. So I mean, this is the sort of nonsense that you can expect when you are dabbling in the cryptocurrency space, where you have these sort of human manipulative moves or strategies, like they're mentioned here. The new stellar growth strategy is what they're calling it, renaming or slapping a new sort of marketing scheme on XLM. And of course, the price responding very well to that. In fact, let's actually take a look at the chart here. And this is as of the release of that piece of news on the daily chart. I mean, look at that. We actually did not knowing, we actually did a little bit of analysis on XLM lumens on my last video before I found out about the news, and we actually, remarkably called a pretty good move expected on lumens. So if you want to go back to my last video prior to this from Monday the 4th, November 4th, you guys can check that out. Go to specifically the minute 44.30. If you go to that specific timestamp on that video from yesterday, you'll see that we were talking about stellar lumens, again unknowing that that stellar lumens was going to burn the half of its total supply. We actually hit a few targets. I posted a few targets for you guys based on just what the technicals were, but it actually ended up that that move was predicated by the event that was going on yesterday with XLM deciding to burn a huge amount of their total supply again. So if you want to really slap the term manipulation here, I do think that completely 100% applies. And again, if we're talking fundamentals, not technical analysis on something like this, but really fundamentals, it just leaves a lot to be said, in my opinion, right? For something, we're in an industry where everything is, I believe, in my opinion, measured through the level of decentralization within a given project. And we see that there is a huge gap in that specific ordinance when it comes to XLM lumens, right? So this is the kind of fuckery you can expect in the crypto sphere going forward. So I always tell you guys, be very, very mindful. Be very, very careful where you decide to allocate your fiat currency, whether it's euro, yen, or whatever it might be, ripples, or whatever you call them. Just be very mindful of this sort of thing that it could happen. I mean, yeah, this was a hefty gain. This was, people definitely benefited from it. Not really. I'm not talking about the gains, and I'm not talking about the positive aspect of this move. I'm just really, really concerned about the sort of fuckery that goes on when you have human interaction and just human involvement in any of these projects. You can be certain that shit like this is going to happen all the time, as long as humans were in charge of this sort of thing, because again, that ultimately benefited them, and in their efforts to sort of reorganize or have a new phase of stellar growth, as they're calling it, or new strategy. This actually benefits them quite a bit. It attracts more people to their project. It lets people know that, hey, our total market cap actually, or not total market cap, but our total supply actually was diminished by about 50%. So guess what naturally is going to happen? You're going to have a price increase. So again, this is a project that, in my opinion, has been struggling. It is, founded by Jeff McCaleb, the same founder of XLM, along with Mr. Garlickhouse and a couple other guys. Decided to open up this new project called Stellar Lumens based on some differences the team had over at XRP, and deciding to jump into a new project, build a foundation around it. But again, when you have human power, human interaction, you will always have this sort of fuckery in any project. So, all right. So let me know definitely down below. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you agree or disagree, whatever the case may be. And let's get into the Bitcoin chart and start talking about that. Not much really to really report back on this day of trading in the last 24 hours. I mean, just again, we're still stuck within this range, Let's actually bring back our drawing tools. And in fact, that's why, let's see. I want to show my drawing tools because I gave you guys some targets on a daily. I believe. Yeah. So here's a clear picture of what we were talking about. We said that it was possible that we come back and retest at 200 there, based on what we were seeing. Obviously, it was coming from the sort of news and not purely from the technical aspect. But we read the move. We actually identified it based on what we thought was organic price action. But it ended up being it's just more manipulation in this market. All right, so let's go back to Bitcoin. All right, and let me take a sip of some of my wine here, refresh my throat. Red blend from Menage-a-Trois. It's pretty good. Recommend you guys pick a bottle up. All right, so again, we're still stuck within this range. We're looking at the daily here. The 89 is definitely giving us plenty of support there. If we go back to the 4-hour and zoom in a bit, see, we're still within this trading range here. This line of support coming in at 9,000. Area of resistance coming in at 94, just slightly over 94. Again, we talked about Bitcoin wicking above 9,400, but as long as we're not closing anything above 95, 9,600, then we're still going to be stuck within this range. Clearly, we can see this $9,400 resistance line acting as such. We still see Bitcoin rejecting the price. Let's actually contrast it with the longs. I mean, this again, we want to use this for sort of the sentiment of the market, what most people are thinking about, and we do see that the longs are getting super extended. A lot of people getting bullish on the price of Bitcoin. There is sort of a reason to do that because again, we've been closing significant candles above $9,000. Currently, we're sitting at 93. And again, we've been closing a lot of candles on this upper part of the range here. So it does give us some fuel to light the fire, right? We're currently, above every major and simple moving average, 55. We have the 100, we have the 21 and 30 here. 30 currently acting as sort of resistance there. But again, 30 is not really something that's going to keep suppress the price downward too much. The 30 is always something that can easily be punctured and we can head in either direction when encountering the 30. Feeling a little thirsty tonight. All right, so now based on the volume here, I mean, it looked like we could have a potential move here fairly soon. I mean, it's again down below the exponential here. So typically, after a big move, we start to settle. There's more. There's a period of consolidation, which we've had, and then we can then at that point we can expect another move. And this is another thing. Another thing I was thinking about. How spoiled we are here in this cryptocurrency market. If you come from traditional markets, you're expecting this. I mean, this is sort of like serenity. This is sort of like familiar to you. This is your sort of your happy place because it becomes less volatile, it becomes more predictable maybe, and it's something that can more easily do your setups. But in cryptocurrency, we're not really partial to this. We're not accustomed to this. We're more accustomed to these high and low swings, as we've seen in the last few months. These super high swings. I mean, look at that, just huge amount of price action in one move. I mean, just from this top to this bottom. I mean, 30% swing, right? And in a matter of a short period of time, right? So. We're definitely, something I was thinking about today is we're definitely very, very spoiled. So this sort of price action seems like it can be boring. It really just leaves room for some scalping and some short trades, short-term trades, maybe like a daily trade or a really short scalp, but nothing more. But again, based on this sort of consolidation volume signature, we can definitely start to tell that there should be another move coming sometime soon. It's very hard to predict. I don't try to predict. As I've told you guys here in this channel, I'm not the type that will try to tell the future or give you guys a fortune call. I always tell you guys to do your own research and don't take this as financial advice, certainly. But there's certainly there's been some consolidation in the price of Bitcoin that we see that here illustrated. Also within the RSI, getting sort of stuck in the neutral zone, not really making a decision either way. But again, what people are expecting is that we are going to break out of this current range that we're stuck in currently, and for the last not a couple of days, but actually a few days, over a week now, about 11 days or so, we've been stuck in this range, not really being able to get out of it. I'm a wick here, wick there, but nothing decisive, right? I've also, I told you guys last night, or not last night, but last video on the 4th, that I had some buying orders right around 8,200 range. I actually decided to move my buying orders a little bit higher to about 8,400. So that's where I'll be looking to maybe, luckily, if I get lucky, maybe I'll get to have I'll get to pick up some really cheap Bitcoin on a possible flash crash or dip, right? That's sort of an inkling that I'm having. Again, I'm not wholly basing this on any sort of technicals. Not much of technicals right now. I'm just kind of thinking that we have a little bit more correction to actually shake out before we make a more decisive, more compelling, and more some more of a stable move that is going to lead us into what'll be more of a definitive future move, right? So before that, again, I do think that there's a possibility that I can catch a really cheap Bitcoin around 8,400, 8,425 range. So not financial advice. I'm just letting you guys what I'm doing. I might not ever get it, but that's fine. As I told you, I'm happy with my position here where I'm at here. As far as what I'm holding in Bitcoin, I do have a little bit of cash on the side, again, just in case Bitcoin does decide to flash crash. If it doesn't, again, I'm still happy with this. Still happy with what I got here. All right, so let's actually look at some alts now. Let's actually, before we do that, let's look at the daily. Again, it's above every major moving average. So there's plenty of reasons, again, to be bullish on it. As long as we don't break the 30 or the 89, we're still, or I'm sorry, if we break the 30 and 89, we're still good with it. We're still within the range. If we break down below the 55 and the 21, then the 200 is going to come in here as actual support. You guys can actually set up a nice buying order. I think 8,400 is a bit more of a stretch, but it's not impossible. So 8,600 would definitely be an area where I'd be 8,500 would definitely be an area where definitely could be possible, right? As long as we don't close, though, and as long as we don't close any significant candles below the 200 EMA, then we're still pretty much within the same sort of price action, within the same sort of let's call it trend. Nothing too significant. Again, a wick can always happen, but if we're not stabilizing and consolidating in this area, then we can definitely again remain within this time frame here, or within this pattern here, and actually look forward to a breakout as opposed to a breakdown significantly. All right, so that's on the daily. Let's actually go and look at some altcoins. We do have XRP here. Again, more consolidating around the $30 or 30 cents range, which historically has just been a great area of support, around 29 to 30 cents. We do see XRP actually getting into that range again. And with everybody thinking that Bitcoin's going to go long or Bitcoin's going to break out of this current formation, I do think that there's definitely currently breathing room for any altcoin. As we've seen, some of these altcoins actually have some nice runs in the last few days. It does also lend some space and breathing room for XRP to do the same and actually come back and retest the 200 EMA here. This is on the daily, coming in at around 31 and 25 cents. This is certainly a possibility, especially after we just saw that XRP is actually holding nicely above the 29 cents range. So it's holding nicely. We could potentially come back and retest again to 200 as we did back here. I do anticipate that we are going to get another try at it at around 31.25 is where I'd be, putting my bet. So there's still quite a bit of breathing room here for XRP to make a move. Let's call it about a 3.82% possible trade. Not too bad. Again, if you're from traditional markets, you're probably liking that. If you've been trading nothing but crypto, then you might be like, that's not a whole lot. But 3 to 4% is nothing to really shake a stick at. Again, we have to be objective, right, when it comes to our market, crypto market, because it historically is a very very generous market when it comes to these moves, and you can find really, really just mouth-watering trades, right? So again, we can definitely say that we can come back and retest around 31.25. Let's actually see if there's any confluence on the 4-hour to kind of solidify what we're saying. I mean, it's definitely above every moving average right now, right? Again, that's a bullish posture from XRP. It came back and retested the 21 on the 4-hour. Actually got a nice bounce, got bought up. So, I mean, this is a good sign, right? Anytime you have a really good bounce off of an EMA like the 21, that is telling you that we are very much still within the bullish posture, and still people are getting very, very bullish on it. And we can see that we're sort of, crypto did not mean to do that, but actually that works because that is a pivot point of interest. So that is actually something that will serve as help us kind of, plot this out and sort of plan for what's ahead. All right, now let's get another line here. And we do see here XRP, flagging out here. This is more of a symmetrical triangle that we're building here. We still got ways to go on XRP. As long as Bitcoin remains, within the same range, it doesn't decide to do a drastic move. And here's the thing, right? Here's what I've seen. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but what I've seen lately, pay close attention to this. I've seen Bitcoin actually run up, break out, and then the altcoins are lingering behind, right? They're lagging behind. They're staying within their certain range, and then after Bitcoin is done with its move, then we see some of the alts following that, right? And sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. XRP, oh, excuse me, that was a good one. Sorry. We've seen XRP just kind of, sort of definitely lagging behind lately. Not really, following too much on these runs. So again, if Bitcoin does decide to run up, don't expect to have a instant bounce on the price of XRP. However, if it does break down, we do see that not just XRP, but every altcoin actually just dumps along with it, right? So that's why I'm saying you got to be very, very careful when putting your money in crypto. But for the time being, this is nice. I do think if as long as we're within this range, this doesn't seem like an extended move or doesn't seem like a violent move. We could continue to keep testing this top area of this formation here. But again, at some point we're going to have to come back down and retest. This is a natural progression of these sort of formations. So we can expect to see a short-term bounce here. Again, maybe come back and retest this area around 30 cents, 0.506 is according to this formation. If we decide to have a test sooner rather than later, this top side of the triangle points at 30 cents and 598. But on the daily, again, if we go back, looking at the daily, a test of the 200 seems awfully possible. Again, we've come to test it one time. There's nothing written that we can't come back and retest it again, right? And at that point, we got to reconfigure our flag here, or wedge, whatever might turn out to be. All right, so there's definitely a possibility that we come back on the daily. It's definitely showing us that we can come back and retest this prior area of resistance here at the 200. This is a major pivot point, right? If we break above it and we start, I'm not talking about a wick. This is sort of an indecision candle, and then thus we do have some consolidation happening right after that, and then we do have a retest, not quite a retest, but there's nothing written that says that we don't come back and retest the 200 EMA. But again, if we break above it, if we start closing some significant candles, like a 4-hour, like a daily, on top of the 200, then we start to really get a bit more bullish on that, and then we might find a little bit of a consolidating period, and then we can talk about continuation on that. All right, let's go on to Link. Link's been kind of boring. Just a very diminished price action here, sort of building this flag here. Let's look at it. Yeah, it's sort of an ascending triangle. This, again, Bitcoin did have a nice run, or in altcoin, or this Chainlink coin is actually, kind of following along in that, but again, not super reactive to the move, right? But we're currently at the bottom side of this range, this pivot. If we break down from the 21, as we do see here, it's coming in confluence with this rising line of support here. If we break down from it, then you bet we're going to come back and retest sort of where the 55 is and this previous pivot low is. So we should find some support actually here if we do break down below this area there. Okay, let's actually make that the green line. All right. So there we go. So that'll be the next area of support. This will actually also act as support, but we can actually get rid of this. Sometimes these lines, I'm seeing that they for some reason on TradingView they kind of sort of move on you without you doing anything. So if we break down from this triangle here, this area of ascending support, then this is the next area of interest around $2.33. All right, let's look at BNB. BNB, I actually tweeted about this earlier today, looking like it wanted to break out. If we can get past this pivot high here, I did draw I drew a line on the Twitter chart, but this is a major area of contention here. If we can break above this red line here, which is, we're just so close. The 89 is actually coming in there, and this previous pivot here also coming in as resistance. If we break above it, then I would expect at least a move to 2172, 2175, right where the 200 and the 200, both 200s, the EMA and SMAs. They're both coming in confluence here. If we do get a break above this area, this would be a next area of contention. But then if we can get above it, it's pretty clear that we could come back and retest this previous area here. So let me bring it down just a bit, around 23.46, 23 and 50 cents area. All right, so just some really short-term targets for you guys. That's on a daily. Let's actually look at the 4 hours, see if we find any confluence there. The 4 hours is definitely looking pretty bullish. Let's actually zoom in here. Again, 4 hours looking pretty bullish. We're above every major and simple moving average. We do have some sort of a consolidation going on here. The RSI is definitely letting us know that we're just on the brink of a possible breakout. This is like having a hot rod on a red light right here. That's you're revving the engine right here. It doesn't mean that it's going to break out, right? A lot of times it could be a fake out, but it's just tinkering with that red light, just waiting for that green light to pop on, and we can find some a continuation of this run. And again, this would be our next immediate sort of area of interest. Let's actually adjust it a little bit more to about 23 and 38, between 23 and 38 and 23 and 50 cents. That's where we'll leave it at that. In fact, let's draw a nice little box right here. This is our price target. That's kind of where we want to see a BNB go to if we are to really start talking about a true extended run. Litecoin was actually looking pretty good today. Also, it did have a run, and we did sort of play the move out. Actually, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. I also tweeted about this. If you're not following me on Twitter, here's my Twitter account, The Real Shot 256 on Twitter. Here's how you can find me at The Real Shot 256. I did post an update on Litecoin, letting you guys know that it looked pretty topish. It looked like we actually finished the move. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. I'm gonna have to clean out a little bit, clean up some of these lines here. Not you, but let's clean out some of these moving averages. Clean out the moving averages. Not working. Oh, here we go. Wrong button. All right, there we go. So let's actually bring this little handy dandy tool here and right around this pivot. And we broke out from there. So it does look like the move is actually pretty much done and over with, unless we can really, come back and finish. Truly, just have a just sort of a last squeeze in price action here, right around this area right there. But it is looking pretty topish for the time being. I mean, it already looks like it's correcting on the way down. We could find definitely area of support here. Actually, this would be a area for you guys to potentially grab a bounce, because I don't think the opportunity is done. I do think this run up is done. So if you're thinking, should I take some profits? I think you should have already. If you haven't, it's a good time to do so. And then this area here, you've got two pretty good areas where you might expect to bounce here. And in fact, if we bring out, we're going to have to bring out back our tools here. Let's actually look at the daily. That'll just make it easier for us to build this sort of what I'm trying to show you guys here. Oh wow. Let's just squeeze it down from this point high to this point high. See if we find any confluence there. That's on the daily. Yeah, I mean it's close to the 618, but in between the 618 and the 786, we do have some areas of confluence and support. Let's actually bring it back down to a 4-hour, and let's actually zoom in so we can get a better look at this. And let's actually bring out our Fibonacci extension tool here. All right, so again, this run might be over. It does look like it is definitely over. However, again, doesn't mean that the opportunity is done and over with. Again, I do think this will be an area where you might find a nice little bounce at $60.97 or $61. There's another area here of definite support you can also rely on for a possible bounce. So you can sort of ladder your way in or step your way in at $61 and then at $60 and about 7 cents. These are two areas where you might find a nice little bounce there. Okay, let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum failing to really get above this pivot point. So I do think we should actually head further down a little bit. Let's actually bring out our moving averages to sort of help us find a potential bounce. I mean, they're all bunched up here coming in as in confluence here, so there's going to be plenty of support here. We're now using these moving averages as a springboard to catch bounces, although it does look like it's already catching a bounce off the 30 on the 4-hour. Actually pretty bullish. Again, sort of in position here within the bullish control zone. If we do get above this area here on the RSI, then I do think we could definitely find a breakout of this move. Again, mainly this pivot, this previous pivot area here is going to act as the main indicator as to whether we are going to break out or not. All right, so that's Ethereum. I'll look at one more and then we'll wrap it up. I think it's been long enough. I always try to keep these things as short as possible, but it doesn't always work out. So apologize about that. Actually, we didn't finish with Ethereum. Yeah, so that's the 4 hour looking pretty bullish. Bounced off the 30. Let's look at the daily. What's the daily saying? A little too much there. Again, I mean, we're stuck in this range, or stuck within, above the 200 simple here. We're starting to close some significant candles, open and close on the daily. This is pretty significant. We're currently testing the 89, which as of late has been acting as dead on for either resistance and support. So this is going to be a highly contested area again. If we can keep opening and closing some daily candles above the 89, at least some 4 hours, and we could start to talk about this line is probably no longer something that we need to look at. It does look like we can actually come back and retest as we did here. We did have almost a retest of the 200 simple. It does offer up some confluence there, where the 200 coming in right around where the previous test is coming in at. So this will be a definite area of contention for Ethereum going forward. And then if we can break above the 200 EMA there, again, for any altcoin or even Bitcoin, if we always break above something like a formation such as this, where you have the 200 coming in on top of it, and we can start to open and close some major candles up here, then we can start to think about maybe this previous pivot here, which is coming in at 220, and then the 377 at 227. But this seems highly unlikely to me, so I wouldn't bet on that. I'm just telling you, on a shorter term, a retest of the 200 would be definitely possible. It's definitely in the cards. We are going to have to find, we're going to have to break the exponential here on the volume indicator here. If we do break out above it with some green candles, then this move actually will definitely quite possibly play out. So pay attention to the color candles here on the volume indicator. If we do get some green candles above the exponential here, the indicator here, then again that move becomes more and more positive. All right, guys. So last one, and then we'll get out of here. VAT actually having a nice run, retesting the 200 as we mentioned. Always the 200 is going to be a pivotal point in any coin. It does look like this might be topping out. So if you haven't taken any profits yet, I suggest it's a good area. Again, we're looking at the daily. Let's actually look at the 4 hour. This will tell us with even more certainty. So we did break above this previous area of resistance. We're now sitting above this previous pivot point, which again is another area of contention right here. And I mean, look at that. It is looking like it's looking to top out. This sort of a hanging man here is indicative of a reversal, but then we have this 4 hour candle, to the upside with possible continuation. But it does look pretty toppy to me. Maybe too soon to tell, but it does look like we might start to head down. So this is probably a great area for you guys to start taking some, if not all, your profits, and then wait for a bounce to about the 30 simple there, which initially should have a bounce there, and then we'll reassess from there. But it does look like it could potentially defend the 30 simple there and have another bounce. Again, opportunity is all but done there. All right, guys. So I hope that you got something in exchange for your time here with me. I appreciate you joining. Hope you're having a great Tuesday evening. Hope you enjoyed the music. And if you did, please hit the like button. And also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave your comments down below on YouTube. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next one.